Wait, what are we doing?
I'm Spencer.
JD.
And I'm Eric.
This is Ruby.
Hey, Ruby.
Oh, no. Oh, wait. Done the wrong thing. This is the Itch Podcast, episode number...
95?
Yeah, baby.
And I'm Eric.
Just now?
Yep, it just
Oh,
got
God.
plugged in.
Anyway,
And here's a podcast where we talk about video games, news, and
all kinds of dumb shit that's on our minds.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this
Listen to
week,
this dumb shit that's on my mind.
and this week we're going to be talking about the Witcher TV series that's coming out,
Yeah.
the Destiny 2 information that came out, as well as talking a little bit about the Pokemon Go event that is occurring currently.
Pokemon, go away. I'm cool.
But before we talk about the news, we always start off by asking JD, what games have you been playing this week?
You know what I've been playing. Eric, what have you been playing?
I have been playing.
Let me tell you what I've been playing. All right? You don't want to cut me off right now.
Yeah, don't cut him off.
Jeez. Oh,
Sorry,
hell,
I'm
dude?
sorry, man.
You know JD doesn't like being cut off.
Eric's just being so mean to me all the time. So I've
My
actually...
father raised me better.
Because he's in the chat. Little brownie points right there.
Wait, what? Oh, he is? Oh, hello.
Hello!
Hello, sir. Injustice.
Injustice 2.
Pure Injustice 2. Been rocking my Black Canary.
You getting ready for Evo?
Ever. Yeah.
You good?
No, not right now. NetherRealm Studios games have a different sort of psychology when it comes to their fighting games. So it's more of an offense approach, whereas
Best offense is great defense.
yeah, best defense is to never let them attack, essentially. So it's just beat your opponent with overwhelming offense. Yes, thanks, Eric. I heard you the first
I just
time.
thought it was a great point that needed to be made twice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, outside of that, I haven't even played Overwatch in a while, and the event's coming up, I think, Tuesday.
Which event?
The anniversary event.
Oh, really?
They got new skins coming out, Zarya, Bastion, Soldier, and...
May. Please, May.
no, it's not May. Farah. And there's new dance emotes coming.
Is Farah gonna have a dragon costume?
Why?
Because of paladins.
Because paladins. No, but there actually is controversy about her original skin, which I just wanted to address, but I mean, we could talk about it once we're done. Eric, what have you been playing? Ruby, apparently. She is just unrelenting right now.
I've been playing soccer with Ruby.
Yeah. Next Pele, right?
Yep. She just took right to it. Didn't know I had a Mexican dog.
Yeah. She's like, hey, cabron!
I played Battlefield 1 on the Xbox One with my dad the other day.
Mm-hmm. How many
Had him
times do you
come
revive
over.
your dad?
I'm going to keep mentioning it today. I had him come over and set up with the dual TVs here and
that's
showed him the podcast setup. I played some Pokemon Go. Started picking up this game called Vikings Clash of Clans, basically.
Oh, God.
Started playing that, and then some Pokemon Go. They announced an event for that I will talk about a couple more sentences later. And then the newest game that I picked up yesterday that I have been wanting to play nonstop, but Fire Emblem Echoes.
Shadows of Valentia.
Tia.
Jeez, man, you guys say the whole... Oh, my God.
Some of these names are just too long. But yeah, I've been playing that, and so far I'm digging it. It definitely has a couple things, some quirks about it that I'm not super ecstatic about, but the most important thing to me is that it's fun to play.
Yeah, it's got like stamina, right? You have to keep eating to refill that bar.
There's fatigue.
Your fatigue, yeah.
There's fatigue when you're in the dungeons and also in combat. Like if you continuously use the same character over and over,
Yeah.
his stats reduce.
And then also, doesn't it get rid of like the weapons triangle?
it changes the weapon thing. Like the archers can now shoot more than one space away by default. You don't have to get like some super weapon for it.
Yeah.
From what I can tell so far, the first few characters that you get in the game, you actually get the ability to promote them into any class you want.
Neat.
So if you want to make them all mages, you could do that. If you want to make them all
But you should.
soldiers, you can do that. All archers, you have the option of customizing. I think it's like the first 5 characters you get. And I just finished selecting which characters I have doing what. So, and then there's also like free roam dungeon. Like you get to run around in a dungeon, and you get to initiate combat and stuff, and it goes into the tactics screen, and you sprint around the dungeon exploring stuff to find items, and you actually like move around, not really move around towns, but you go from spot to spot, and you can examine it and look to see if there's any hidden items in the area and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely different than the original, than the last Fire Emblems we're used to. The tactics part is still there. It's just changed a little bit. So I'm looking forward to it. I've played a lot of Fire Emblem Heroes the last couple months, just waiting for a new Fire Emblem game. Basically, like it really got me all jazzed for one. And lo and behold, here we go. And the funny thing is that I barely heard about this game. Like I heard like whispers of like new Fire Emblem games coming out, and I expected some kind of Switch thing.
You heard echoes, perhaps?
Yeah, I heard echoes of this game coming out.
That was not good.
I'll be here all
And
week.
He knows.
I picked up. This is the first time that I've picked up amiibos at like launch of a game, kind of thing. Like, oh, I gotta get the amiibos, but I didn't really feel like I had to get them. They were just $5 for 2 of them with a deal that I got. So
Yeah, it's cheap.
I was like, I might as well grab them. I haven't. I registered them on it last night, and I was about to use one of the amiibos, but then it was in the living room, and I was laying in bed, and I was too lazy, so I said, fuck it. But Spencer, what have you been playing?
Heroes of the Storm.
Oh,
Game's fine. League of Legends. Game's a little better.
Fine.
And I started playing Zelda the Minish Cap over again because I adore that game.
yeah.
It's
It was on. You
Very
streamed. You streamed almost all those games this week.
yes.
You did stream all those games this week.
I didn't personally stream Heroes, but we streamed it.
Aw.
Didn't we stream?
Yeah, we streamed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we actually did stream all of those games. So very fun.
Good job.
Check
So
it out.
it's boring.
Going into speaking of streams, did you guys watch the Destiny 2 announcement stream?
No, I was
I
at work.
watched the stream.
I did, because it's a game that I am really hyped for. Can't wait. I made the decision what console I'm going to be purchasing it for. It's actually not a console at all. It's a PC.
Oh, I want to step in on that real quick.
Yeah.
Did you hear that PC's not coming out soon on this console?
Yeah,
So
I did hear that.
Is
A
it
little
coming
bit-
out before?
After.
after,
Aw.
which means we'll probably start on probably PlayStation. I mean,
Are you going to pick it up?
I mean, I'm definitely going to pick it up on PC, but the thing is kind of deciding between the launch or the release date. If it drops and it's like 5 or 6 months difference,
Oh, I'll pick it up on console.
I'll pick it up on console.
If
If
it's
it's a
like-
if it's a month, that's going to actually be really hard for me because I'll be like, I kind of want to get into it though. And I know you guys don't have this. I have a roommate who every day, if he's watching, begrudgingly says, "Oh wow, if only I had people to play with on Overwatch," because I don't play Overwatch on console anymore. And it's just I don't hear the end of it. So my brother Nick, a couple other people, I guess you guys included, go, hey, let's get this game on PC. Matt, I live with, goes, get the game on console.
I will get that game, Destiny 2, on PC. I don't think I'll get it on a PS2 or PS4.
The only reason I say is because I just want to get into it, fuck around. And as far as
Well, I'm going
titles,
to have the beta.
well, yeah, and as far as it's a beta. I actually don't think I'll ever do another beta again.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's another topic, but I don't like the concept. That beta ruined, or the beta for Destiny, the beta for Battleborn didn't ruin Overwatch, surprisingly. The beta for Final Fantasy for a little bit ruined those games for me. initially. I like the sense of having no limits. I get the full experience, jump in, everything's new to me, and I can keep going as far as I want to. It's not there if I'm playing the beta of a game that's coming out shortly, sure, but isn't already in my hands. It's a tease to me, and I just don't like it. Get your hands off my cock, is what I say.
You know, in all honesty, I will probably want to hold off for the PC. Like, I don't think I even want to spend the money on the console version. Just simply because it's just going to sit there. As soon as the PC version comes out, it's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
You can give it to those less fortunate, man. We don't know if there's crossplay yet.
There's not.
According to who? Still not confirmed.
Last I heard, like someone was tweeting about it, basically. Or no, sorry, cross save. Cross save does not exist.
No,
I have not heard about cross play.
Cross save does exist. It doesn't exist for Xbox. It exists for PlayStation and PC.
So your character will transfer over to
Yeah.
PC.
But and PlayStation 4, it's not going to transfer on Microsoft.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that might change things for me then.
Why are you going to get it? Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's easier then. I mean, technically, that's easy for me then, because then I can do that with Matt. Like, hey, run this dungeon by yourself. I'll be back later. I'm going to play with the people and play competitively. And I'll come back and
I'm going to play on the thing that matters.
I'll play pew games with you. Nah, I don't mean it to be condescending.
No.
But the crossplay thing
No cross save between PCs and console.
says who?
Says PC World.
I literally heard the exact opposite, that it was confirmed.
From who?
From friggin', what are they called? It was the No and someone else. The people that they linked it to. I get that they got part of their stuff from that Reddit thing, but they're like, yeah, it's confirmed. It's cross save. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
I thought I remember hearing it was someone tweeting about like one of the developers saying no go.
That's kind of an interesting thing in the sake of gaming, because what kind of point does it make, I guess? It's very niche need, and devoting resources to it maybe, I guess, wasn't in their best interest. If it's not there, it's not there. But cross-play, I don't think should be there. But, I mean, if it is, it is, you know.
I wouldn't. Crossplay would be super bad.
Yeah. I mean, the difference is, though, is auto aim is very real in console shooters. People have no idea how bad it is.
It annoys the crap out of me.
If you play as, like when I was playing as Tracer, I remember on console, I would show some of my clips to friends like, wow, really good tracking. I'm like, yeah, it is really good tracking, isn't it? It's very, very interesting for me to move this into fire and move this into jump and all that stuff. No, it's partly auto aim. You can't take all the credit. So, yeah, auto aim is very real.
Everything that I'm seeing about the cross save thing, it's saying that basically these articles released 2 days ago, and they all say cross save is there, and then there's articles from 1 day ago saying no, it's not. But it's consistent across 5 or 6 different articles.
Well,
There you go. Newest info says no.
I guess it's not really all that important to me if you really think about it.
No, so the cross save thing, the only reason that it would be interesting for me is because then I could pick it up on PS4 and also on PC, so that I could play with both my friends and the different groups and stuff. But
Both of my friends.
I only have 2.
I was gonna say it's not us.
Yeah, we don't
apparently.
play that thing. I don't know who's playing with.
But yeah, like a vast majority of my
I'm gonna
friends, so like they're locking the frame rates on. Supposedly they're going to be locking the frame rates on the PS4 and Xbox at 30 FPS, even on the pros. Console, PC is going to be up to 144 frames.
You should lock it at 60.
They should lock it, but basically they're saying the PC has the ability to go to it. I don't know if they'll end up locking it or
To
not.
the moon? Get it? Because of space?
What
Because of
Titan?
the witches? Right? The witches on the moon?
Yep.
There are witches on the moon.
So
They
some
have
of the other
flame
things that they
shields.
announced on the Destiny 2 thing really fast, they're revamping the weapon system. So you no longer will have the primary, special, and heavy. It's now going to be kinetic, energy, and power, meaning that you'll basically carry around 2 primary weapons, one of which will be kinetic damage. The other one will be energy-based damage. Power weapons are your heavies, and that will also now include, I believe, shotguns. I know snipers, fusion rifles are definitely in there. Basically, a lot of your special weapons are now moving down to the power slot. So if you get power ammo, which sounds so weird.
Hamo.
You get power ammo, you're going to be able to use all those other weapons, but now you're going to be running around with a I don't know, thorn and a Mida multi-tool or something, or whatever. You're going to run around with 2 primaries, one of which will have energy bonuses and the other not.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't really explained it in any more detail than that. There's a new subclass for each one. You have Blade Dancers, which have blades dancers. Again, basically, it's like Blade Singers or Blade.
Well, it's for the
Hunter.
warlock. The hunter gets the staff.
Yeah, Blade Dancing basically again.
Oh, well, you called it blade dancing, so I was like,
Yeah. They're basically getting a newer version of their Blade Dance.
they're
It's like
Gambit
a-
now.
Yeah, it's a Gambit. It's a Nightwing.
It looks neat.
Yeah, it does, but it's basically the same thing.
Damn dog.
The Titans are getting Sentinel, which basically makes them Captain America.
X2.
Yeah, and then the Warlock is the only one that I would have to say has like a very unique super.
You get a flame sword.
You get a flame sword and you fly. Like you float around pretty freely.
And you shoot projectiles like your Link, and you have a full health. With
Yeah.
the Master Sword.
Yeah, you're just chucking. It's like
Chucking
it's like
plasmas.
throwing hammers for a Titan for the Sunbreaker, but now you're just launching fire waves. So it's pretty cool.
I saw the gameplay of that, and I don't know if it was the guy playing it, but I was like, either he's missing every shot or this is really underwhelming. I was like, okay, great. I have wings. I have a sword now. I'm the angel of death. But what's going on?
Yeah.
So
Now the other thing that they announced that there's 2 things more that I want to mention about this whole release thing. One, you can now access events from anywhere. You don't have to go back to Orbit. There's no more waiting lobbies, basically, or waiting rooms that are holding you back from going to your next content, waiting for people to be ready to go to Orbit and stuff. It's just wherever you are, you can just pick your next destination and go, which I think will change the game drastically. It'll be a lot faster paced, a lot less downtime when you're playing that game. The other thing, shit.
dedicated servers, I think.
No. Well, I guess there's 2 more things. The Blizzard is going to be selling the PC version
Oh yeah, it's not
on Battle.net.
it's not on Steam.
Yeah, it's
at
not
all.
on Steam. And the way they announced it, they're like, "Oh, we're reaching out to the best gaming community there is, the best place to pick up your video games and this and that." Totally like selling it, and I'm sitting there watching and going, "That has to be Steam." Like if they say
GameStop!
if they say GTA or something like that, like for purchasing PC games, I was like, "That's weird." And they go Battle.net, and I was like, or they said Mike Morheim, and I was like, "Blizzard? Battle.net?" And I was like, I guess that, I mean, it makes sense because it's Activision. It's a great decision on their part because of how many Destiny players are they now going to be able to get into Hearthstone or StarCraft or
It's true.
all these other
Overwatch,
games because it's just going to be on the browser and they're going to see free game and go, oh, okay, I'm bored of, no one's on Destiny right now. I'm going to switch over to this, try this out. Or their friends are going to be like, they're going to load it up and be like, oh, let's play Destiny. You know what? I really want to play some World of Warcraft right now. Let's do that instead.
I don't think that's ever been said. Yeah.
Not in the last 6
Well,
years.
one of the other cool things I thought about was the cross promotion. You know, what if they got some Titan skins for Soldier or something? You know,
Yeah.
or they make him a character in Heroes of the Storm. Make
Yeah.
some of those characters.
I don't know how involved that is going to be. Like I don't know how much they're actually going to do for that the cross promotion kind of stuff, but it would be cool.
Nice
The
to
last
see.
thing that I wanted to mention about the Destiny 2 stuff was the player count, like your group for PvP is now reducing from 6-player to 4-player and across all events. So anything that was a 3-man team is now up to 4. Anything that was 6-man is now down to 4.
So Crucible, you said Crucible?
Yeah. All Crucible matches are now down to 4 people.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't at
Be-
all.
Because I don't think was Halo ever 4 before? The original Halo, right? But like normally Halo, I think was 5, or Halo 5 is 5 on 5. It's been so long since I played. Regardless, you know, shit like that, like that keeps the game flowing better. I remember when I used to play Destiny, I was like, it felt like you turn the corner, you find a guy. And that was good. It was like a nice blend because it's not necessarily the numbers, it's the accessibility. We got characters that can jump and like boost themselves and stuff like that. But the maps were created to where you're not going to fight 3 guys in the same room and then you spawn and then those 3 guys are coming to your next location. Like that's not how it worked, at least not for me. So I don't know what their point is if they're looking at lowering that to be like, oh, we want to have, you know, better balance or something like that. I can, you know, like character-wise or abilities, but I don't like the concept of them dropping the number to be like, we want to change the flow of multiplayer to be less hectic. Well, then develop proper levels is what I'd say, as opposed to change the count of the characters.
I completely agree. I think I don't really understand the logic behind it. I know that a couple people that I had talked to said it would make the game more competitive, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me to One of my biggest issues with Destiny 1 was the fact that it restricted how many people I could play with. There'd be times that I'd have 7 or 8 friends online, and then it was like, well, we don't really have enough. There's no event or anything for us to do. Supposedly, one of my friends, when I said, they called Destiny 2 an MMO. And I said, yeah, an MMO that restricts content to 6, 4, and solo play. Or 6, 4, and 3 and solo play. Yeah, that feels massive. Completely understand that.
Yeah, it's definitely not an MMO.
So he was trying to state that it was massive. And he's like, well, they have 10-player content. And he said that the new adventure patrols, like there's a quest you can do with adventures that can do 10-man. I haven't confirmed that because I don't really even think it's true. But if it is, cool. But who really wants to do 10-man PvE content? Like, I want to do 10-man PvP content. Let me go into a mayhem mode where there's like 40 on 40.
Big team battle is real popular in Halo.
Yeah, let me do something like that. Like, don't restrict how many people I can game with. Like, make it more. And I thought originally it was the limitations of the Xbox 360 and the PS3 that kept it to 6, and the map size and all that kind of stuff. But now with them just sticking, basically they're developing for PC, the Pro, and the Scorpio that's soon to come out. It just doesn't make sense to me to have those restrictions and to reduce it more. It's probably my biggest gripe with the entire Destiny 2 release, is that they're reducing player count and content. I would love if they increased it and they made it scale. Like, they already have it scaling. It's scaling to when you are on 1v1 and you go fight something, no matter what it is, they can damage you, they can fight back. They can fight back, and a level 2 thing can kill you. Why not just scale all the dungeons accordingly to that? You put 5 people in it, the damage scales or their health scales or something, or more ads, whatever it is. They should be able to do that up to at least 6-man in a dungeon, or in a raid they should be able to do it up to 12. I think that would be a lot better of a situation. They also added a Sherpa, or a guided gaming system, that they're trying to take care of the solo players on the game, where they're trying to if you're playing by yourself but you want to do some of the multiplayer content, they have a way of you applying to basically a looking for group. It's like all the websites you'd use to try and find a group. You now can just queue up in game and just go through a list of invites so that you can try that other content, which I don't know. It's cool, but I don't think it's going to have it's not going to achieve the intended desire. because the intended desire is that you recruit that person into your clan afterwards. You basically, it's a trial run to see if that person wants to be a part of your group or whatnot. I don't see that going over well. I see like clans just screaming at blueberries, just yelling at them for like, get out of our group. We don't need you. You suck. Like, we need someone who's competent and has to be 365 plus, elite, have the achievement. That's what you're gonna see when you go into that guided games. But yeah, that was Destiny 2 announcement so far. Beta coming. I thought the graphics, I thought it looked a little too cartoony. I thought their art style went a little more cartoony than previous.
But the game is kind of cartoony.
It just went too cartoony for me now.
But isn't the game? I don't know. When I look at that game, it doesn't really scream like a realistic kind of game anyway. To me, I don't know. I don't play it a lot, so I'm probably not the best judge. But like, I mean, you got characters that like throw a hammer on the ground and stuff. And it's kind of like a fantasy-ish kind of premise.
Right, but the difference being of like if you look at World of Warcraft compared to Final Fantasy 14, one definitely looks a lot more realistic than the other. I think Destiny went more towards Warcraft in this expansion.
Do you don't think that kind of works for it? Because it definitely doesn't seem like a Call of Duty kind of thing.
I would much rather go the Call of Duty route, and like, or the Final Fantasy route. Like, I'd much rather go that direction than cartoony. Yeah, I just like the futuristic, realistic style that they had in the first one, and now it just feels like they're making things too colorful, to where it's not. You look at it and you're like, well, that doesn't look. Those colors would never be on a spaceship, like the military made kind of thing. Like, it wouldn't be. That color palette looks off. I mean, I know you can customize your color palette and stuff like that, but for the base things that they make in the game, the way they design it, those things have a certain look that I just didn't really care for. It doesn't look bad, it just doesn't look as good as the first one to me. But we also, this week, we also had more news about the Witcher TV show.
Yeah. They're coming out with a Witcher TV show on Netflix. I believe it's unannounced when it'll happen. But it's based on the books, not based on the game, though the game is very closely tied to the books. So it's should be pretty close to what people like from The Witcher. It kind of begs an interesting question, though, because they always talk, and this kind of is different because it's based off the books, technically, but regardless, when people play like Metal Gear Solid, and there's like a camp that's like, man, they should make this into a movie, I'm always on the other side of it where I think, no, they shouldn't make it into a movie. It's a game and suits it perfectly. I mean, it's practically a movie anyway with all the cutscenes. But like a game like The Last of Us, how they're supposed to make that into a movie, and then Uncharted, how they're supposed to make that into a movie. Like, it's an interesting conversation to me because I don't necessarily think that they should be movies, ever. Nowadays, games are as cinematic, if not more at times, than movies anyway. So it's kind of a grab bag of ideas there. I'm not sure if I really need a Witcher TV show. I'll probably watch it, even though I don't watch any TV shows, just because I'm curious. It is going to be like side produced by a Polish company. I don't know who they are, but as long as they're from Poland, that's good. And I believe one of the producers is going to be Andre
the Giant?
Andre the Giant. Yeah, he'll not be body slammed. No, Andre Sapkowski, something like that. My phone ran out of battery, so. But that's the guy who wrote the original one, who apparently gets no money from the Witcher games.
I gotta cash these checks, man, somehow, some way.
So he makes no money, but he probably made some sales, because I bought some of his books after playing The Witcher. So he probably made a little boost from that, but definitely nothing from The Witcher 3, which is a real shame, because those made a lot. Those made a pretty penny, or whatever the Polish currency is. I'm not sure what they use.
Poland's.
Or euros?
Polandias.
Polandias?
Yeah. That'll be 6 Pandalonias.
Yeah, 6 pandas. 6 pandemonium.
Give me 6 pandas. Or
But that should be interesting. I'll give it a shot, but it's one of those things where I don't think it needs to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think? Because I don't know, but I just don't like movies and TV shows, so that could just be a cynical look. But do you really need like a game or a movie based off a game that's pretty cinematic?
I think Netflix has been a lot of hit and miss lately. Netflix, from what I hear, House of Cards is great. From what I hear, Orange is the New Black is great.
Iron Fist sucks.
Iron Fist is not that good.
Oh, wonder.
Yeah. Defenders would probably be good. But that's because we're looking at more than just Danny Rand at this point, who's probably the stiffest acted superhero, who has to let you know how he feels every time. But I think they're starting to stretch a little bit because no one really asked for it, and we're getting it. Marvel makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's going on with the why can't we get a story that talks about a more realistic, grittier version of like Marvel? All right, we got you. Orange is the New Black. Technically, no one really asked for that, but it's and I'm not trying to be stereotypical here, but really does connect with a lot of women, primarily female-dominated cast.
It's
From what I
pretty
hear,
decent-
very good
Pretty
actresses.
decent show.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna watch every episode of it, but I've seen enough of it where it's.
you're like, wow, right?
There was a character in particular I really liked from it.
Yeah,
The British chick.
No, there was this like
She
religious.
was my favorite.
There was like this little religious girl, and she was like a villain. And she was really good. She was like really good job. Like you don't usually hate people, you know. Like
they're doing their job. If
yeah,
you hate them,
we've seen stuff enough where we're like, okay, you're the villain. Like you're gonna go, haha, I'm evil, blah blah. Like it's very rare that I like actually hate the character.
like you've done some really villainous shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Good on
yeah,
her.
yeah. So I mean, good in that regard, but no one's really. I mean, even sort of the Marco Polo thing. The first season comes out, then they did the blind man, like one off, and then they're like, oh, season 2, and it's like, sure. Were people really? Is that what the world needed, or are they just kind of stretching out and going, all right, let's put. Let's find the scorpion. We got 15 jars. I'm gonna stick my hand in each one of these. Eventually, we'll find the scorpion. How about you just look at the jar? How about you take a look around? It's probably a bad analogy, but my point is, they're not. I don't know if they're going about it the right way. They haven't gauged interest. They don't know if their demographic caters more to that because, unfortunately, it's not prolific readers that are going to be going, oh, hey, The Witcher's coming. No, it's getting reported by gaming blog sites.
Yeah.
So that should be your first hint.
It's kind of ironic because it's like The Witcher 3 is so well written. I think the best written game ever. I think the writing is so great. The characters are all really interesting. Why make a show about that? Because it's already happened. Like it's already been presented really well. Like a Zelda show makes sense because Zelda, like that's the one thing it doesn't really include is dialogue or like strong characterization of stuff. It's more about the adventure. Mm-hmm. So a Zelda show makes sense. Like you want to explore these characters. Okay, cool. Why pick a series that the characters are like already really, really heavily explored? It's like a 100-hour game if you wanted it to be.
Well, I mean,
Accessibility.
they're looking at the first one, and the first one is honestly just about Geralt.
That's true.
And it's they're discussing. They could go back as far as to how he got his nickname. They could go a little bit past that. It's up to them.
As far as accessibility goes, though, kind of like to his point, like the people that are announcing it mainly were like gaming sites. And I feel like the gamers that really care about The Witcher have already played it. And I don't think The Witcher has that appeal that like normal people, like people that aren't into gaming.
Like a Marvel movie.
Right. It
Which is
doesn't really
why
have
making- yeah.
the Iron Man appeal.
There are a percentage of us that won't play The Witcher, but is interested in the story, like me.
Or me. Fuck that game. Just kidding. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the percentage is that high though. And I don't think it has like an out of gaming group that wants to see it.
But that kind
that
of
even knows. Maybe they will. Maybe it'll.
Are you gonna watch it?
I'll watch a couple episodes of it. If it's really good, then maybe. But I don't usually watch shows, so
I'll probably watch the whole thing, just so I can review it. 'Cause that's what I do.
yeah. I don't know. I don't think it needs to happen though.
Either they're going to be crowned as forward-thinking people that, oh man, Netflix is always one step ahead, or they're going to crash and burn, and we're going to be like, see, you shouldn't have done that. So I guess
Yeah.
time will tell. So when a trailer gets released, I think we'll probably know then, to be honest.
That's true.
Because who's playing Geralt? Who's going to have, I mean, we're so used to the raspy voice, him sounding different could be the first thing that turns people off. So by this very definition, they're catering to the gaming audience. So they are getting a character that, what if Geralt was never supposed to sound the way he was in the books?
What if Geralt was a GQ model
Yeah.
that plays to every teenage girl demographic?
Always had really short hair,
Yeah.
no facial
Well-
hair, wasn't really scarred.
I remember hearing a story about like a guy was playing the game and a girl walked in the room and goes, "Who is that?" and got all like
Yeah.
interested in who Geralt was. I've actually heard that story twice now, where girlfriends compared their boyfriends' bodies to Geralt and was like, "Yeah, you should get back in the gym, honey."
Well, like, he's rugged. Do you want me to just take a knife at your back a couple times? Just see what happens. You'll heal, duh. You know, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's definitely an attractive character, but like he has scars, like a lot of scars.
Chicks dig scars.
Yeah, so to go to my point on that, they are, by this very definition, in order to get the viewing audience, even though it's based on the books, catering to the gaming audience on how they represent, or how Geralt is represented in the games. Because he has that gruff voice, because he's got longer hair, because he's scarred the fuck up, which the book can talk about as much as they want, but the game's going to have a better representation of it. 'Cause you're
I've
seeing it
always,
play out.
I've always been accepting of alternate versions or someone changing what they see fit to be a character, like the different renditions of Batman that we've come across. It's interesting to me to see someone else's take on something, like Robin. Looking at Robin and Batman, you have the different versions that they all wear and stuff. Damian Wayne, the newest one, the Red Robin, is definitely my favorite of all those. You look at like
Jean-Claude as Guile.
yeah,
Different rendition of an American war hero.
yeah.
Almost like he's from Belgium. But that wouldn't be possible.
That's just silly. That's a silly idea.
Yeah, anyway, let's go back up Reaver.
But like you look at like Mortal Kombat, like, what's his name? Not Shao Kahn. The one who steals the souls originally. Mortal
Shang
Kombat
Tsung.
one. Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
You look at the actor that they picked to play him. He sounds like nothing like what the game did, but fantastic. Like anytime I think of him, that is the face that comes in my head. There's also the grandpa from Johnny Tsunami, but that's besides the point.
He can find time to love, okay? I'm done with soul stealing.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting thing. I'll definitely watch it all. I mean, I watched all of Iron Fist, even though I regret it.
You were just kind of trudging at that point.
Yeah.
It was on while you were doing something else, I bet.
No,
Oh, what?
Why would you watch it if you didn't enjoy it?
to see if it got better.
Because there's something
To
called
review it.
cognitive dissonance. Just because something sounds bad to you doesn't mean it might be bad as a whole. So even if you're, that's why I buy it. That was my point that I was trying to make when I
What
was.
about the Dark Souls 3 soundtrack?
Yeah, track 7, bro. No, but that was my point that I was trying to make about the album buying thing. But it's later. I mean, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, but I'm playing another game while I have it up. A little bit different. I'm training
Yeah.
while I have it up.
Wow. I'm very quick to cancel anything.
I'm very hard to get into shit. If The Witcher doesn't start off right, nothing. I'm done.
Nah, fam.
It actually happened with The Witcher 2. The Witcher 2, I had no idea where I was supposed to go. I stopped playing it for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I think I was just one day, I think someone was like, hey, what game is this? I was like, it's The Witcher. Oh, play it. And I was playing it. And next thing you know, I was like, I'm back in. but it's because I got over the hurdle too. I found out where I was supposed to go.
Yeah.
I will say this, that like when I start a new season of anything, I turn off autoplay. So I actually have to select to hit the next episode. And if at any point I just like stare at the TV and just like
Started drifting.
yeah, it's like what else is on? Like as I pick up the controller to hit the next episode, it's like, do I want to see what is on next, or do I have a question? Like even if I have one question that I need answers, I have to watch the next episode. I think that's kind of with Iron Fist. I think that's what kind of kept driving me, is that I had one question where I wanted to know what happened with this person or that person, or how this played out. So I hit the next button.
You know the dad in Iron Fist reminds me of your dad.
The crazy one?
Not because he's crazy, but his looks.
Huh.
That sort of reminds me of your dad.
I can sign it.
white.
Well, I mean, Eric and his dad's relationship would be equal to mine if my dad didn't leave me. So
Oh, you're playing that card again.
I am. Because I might have been just a little bit jealous about him and his dad playing on consoles right next to each other. Breaks my fucking heart. Where are you?
Where are you, Dad?
Where are you? And I'm not sorry.
I recently watched a YouTube video about Disney movies. What if they? It was like a what if thing for like a bunch of different scenarios. What if they worked at a restaurant? What if they went to counseling or something like that? And the counselor comes up and starts talking to these two rambunctious kids, and then the parents go, "So what? How are we supposed to help?" And the counselor looks over at him and goes, "Who are you?" Or the parents. "Oh, you're supposed to be dead. It's a Disney movie."
Well, I mean, that's kind of true. It's par for the course. Isn't that right, Luke? Isn't that right? Well, we don't know about Han Solo. They probably are.
Yeah,
More than
yeah.
likely. Isn't that
You
right?
become a smuggler, your parents are probably dead.
Yeah, they're probably fucked.
Did I tell you guys about the how to write a good story or a good franchise?
Mm-mm.
So a picture popped up and it was Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Star Wars, and it said you have to have a hero whose parents died, and you look at like Frodo, you don't know anything about his parents. You look at Harry Potter, his parents died. You look at Star Wars, Luke's parents died.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
Straight dead. Well, I mean, eventually.
Um,
It'll happen.
And then it goes through like has to have like the best friend, and then the funniest one to me, the one that stood out, was you have to have a Harry cast member, and it's Chewie, Hagrid, and Gimli.
Yeah.
I was like, ah. And it started going down the list of like you have to have a pair of two nut jobs or like two quirky cast members. You have R2D2 and C3PO. You have the Weasley brothers, and
Merry
then you
and
have
Pippin.
Merry and Pippin.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
I need
Like
to watch those.
there's so similarities all the way down the line. It was pretty funny.
God, that's good. Sorry. It's my brother. I'll
So,
come back.
Witcher 3, there's no release date or anything like that?
It's already been out, actually.
The Witcher TV show, no, there's no official release date.
Okay. Do you know anything like who's going to put it on?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Outside of them, we don't.
I think it's just a Netflix.
It just says Netflix.
Okay.
And it's, for some reason, also, it's being executive produced by the guys who did The Mummy.
Which one?
I have no idea, but I don't care about any of them, so...
Honestly, the first Mummy's not that bad.
It's
Didn't
okay.
they just remake it with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they killed their extended universe too. They're restarting it with Tom Cruise.
So I'm not really cool with any of that, but there's a Polish company in there, so I'll just not judge.
So should we put him into a tournament on the Xbox One newest update?
Maybe.
What?
Xbox One released a update to where they're offering tournament scheduling, where you yourself and your friends can schedule tournaments and select games and send out invites and notifications of all that kind of stuff.
How about you just text them?
Well, I mean, it's an interface that helps it and make it a lot easier. You can put a visual perspective or visual to your tournament that you're making.
It's kind of cool.
You can also invite them in game, and it sends them notifications if they're playing some other game and forgot. It'll pop up and be like, "Hey, you have a tournament going on in an hour." It's like, "Oh, cool."
Got to feed my kid real quick.
So I was kind of thinking about it, and I think it's an interesting feature to offer in game, a way to organize events.
Yeah.
But that's all it really is just organizing events.
Not tournaments. Yeah.
Not really tournaments. But PlayStation already has the ability to organize events and stuff. Xbox branded it as a tournament thing, and they're doing it with what's that one game?
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct. They're doing.
I don't
it with
even
that
know.
first.
I'm just guessing.
No, you're right. It is. It is that. Now
What tournament game do they have? Oh, yeah. Killers.
I would like to see them expand that past fighters though, and make it more of an event planning thing. Because if you want to do a raid, or if you want to do in like Destiny, if you want to do Battlefront or Battlefield like get-togethers
Or Battleborn. Oh wait, no.
to play them all together, you're gonna want that ability to do that. The tournaments, however, I believe they have like brackets set up to where like the winner plays this group, and that group.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that events wouldn't do. You would have to manage your own brackets and stuff. So I mean, it's a cool, interesting feature, but I don't think they have the gamer support for it. They don't really have like the player base that's willing to go through all that effort. The player base that's interested in tournaments really are already doing tournaments on the side.
Yeah.
Who will probably utilize this feature to an extent, some of the smaller ones and stuff, but I think the bigger ones have already developed some kind of tool just like this.
It's kind of a funny thing that you mentioned that, because there is a tournament mode in Injustice. I haven't touched it yet, but there's that, and then also, if you talk to just about anybody on the concept of tournaments, they prefer fidelity for fighting games. They prefer everyone's got equal standing, everyone does the same shit. There's going to be nothing that changes, right? In order to achieve that, connectivity issues can't be a thing.
Yeah.
And while there have been online tournaments, they have happened, and online play is, essentially the reason why arcades are donezo here. Well, part of the reason, but I can't imagine too many people jumping on board that. Killer Instinct has a good, quote-unquote, netcode. Connectivity is not always an issue for them, more as it would be for something like, I had a problem with Tekken Tag. Playing online on that game was fucking ridiculous sometimes. But as an example. And if they were hosting some tournament for Tekken Tag, and you had some connectivity issues or some lag, and let's just say it was like consistent, maybe it's like the end of the last set, and I don't know, disconnects, or some issue happens, and it's like, oh, you've both been disconnected from the lobby. Like, that would drive me up the fucking wall. Like, are you gonna give it to me? What's gonna happen? Like, if I was winning, if I was losing, or whatever. Like, it creates more problems. And I just feel like it's another case of like sort of missing the mark. We don't necessarily need this, but they're providing it, type thing. So, nah.
Anything else happen this week that you guys are?
I do have a thing. So I actually have two things. One thing, because we were talking about tournaments, I want to bring up the concept of one particular character in Injustice, which is apparently pissing off the FGC as a whole. Can you name the character?
Superman.
No.
Who is this irritating?
The FGC. And just, I
Fighting
guess...
game community.
And just the general, I would say player base. Kotaku did a thing on it, and I was just like they...
Black Canary.
Not yet. It's actually Deadshot. It's kind of funny. They said Deadpool like 3 or 4 times in that article.
Oh, so they meant Deadshot?
Yeah, they fucked up. Yeah, there is no quality control there.
Well,
They don't even
Deadpool is a Marvel character.
First of all, so
I know that.
Who?
Deadshot.
Deadshot.
Will Smith character from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, on all that stuff. So Deadshot has his primary job is keep away. You guys know what keep away is, right? So you just gotta keep him on the other side of the screen. Think Dawson. Okay, Dawson doesn't have good
I'll
up
think
close.
that.
You don't even know who Dawson is, do
That's the joke.
you? Dawson's a stretchy guy from Street Fighter.
Cool.
Remember? Yoga. Do you or do you not?
I know the stretchy guy. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So his game plan is to keep you on the other side of the screen. I want to fucking end you.
Just kidding.
So his job is to keep you on the other side of the screen. Same thing with Deadshot. That's his job as well. Now, this kind of ties back to the thing that I mentioned. I feel like I'm just like self-deprecating, but American developers don't do quality control when it comes, especially for fighting games, don't do quality control as well as Japanese developers do. If you look at Tekken 7, it was announced, I think, 2 years ago. Releases in June. Like, I mean, in the sense of they had an arcade version of it out just for testing. So other people can play it and fuck around with it, and if they find issues with it, I mean, they added a couple more characters, but they're also going, well, let's see, but, you know, we'll fuck around with it, we'll figure out what's going on. I said it was announced 2 years ago. There was a playable version of it as well, and it's not actually released in America until June.
Yeah.
And then you have Injustice, which was announced, I think it was last year, like around this time last year. Released a year later. I'm not saying they don't do quality control, but we're also looking at the issue of a character who normally, in most cases, you can back it up by saying, hey, learn to play around it, okay? Good example, Dawson. Street Fighter 2. Dawson's got longer, reach and limbs, but there's a lot of startup to his moves. You can technically hit his limbs, technically. If you have like an invincible move and he kicks out to you, his limb has a hitbox and a hurt box. So you can hit that and then he takes the damage. If you got like good reads, right? Like, oh my gosh, I knew you were gonna kick.
Yeah.
Or whatever we are dropping.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the American releases, and Dead or Alive, I guess, might kind of counter this idea. Maybe.
What do you mean?
But I feel like the American releases are a lot more, not necessarily aimed at the fighting game community, but more at people that like, how am I going to word this?
Novelty? Nostalgia?
Novelty.
Yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat, like Street Fighter, we'll say. Street Fighter is very precise. It's known for its, deep characters and deep combos and, different...
Say combos, I don't know what the characters, they're shallow as fuck.
Different frame. When I say deep characters, I don't mean story-wise. I mean like...
Okay, yeah, like what
like
they can do.
their play style.
Yeah.
You have to really practice, do this. Whereas Mortal Kombat, I don't feel like that's the draw for just the general gamer. I think the general gamer says like there's fatalities in it, and there's a lot of blood, and there's those parts where it like does the X-ray vision, and you can see
The X-ray moves, yeah.
smash it. So I feel like the emphasis might be less focused on the depth and maybe the quality.
Right, it is.
Balance.
It's definitely there. But let me get to the point I'm trying to make. Essentially, Deadshot, his ability is to keep you away. In that game, there's chip damage. So it means if I do a special move to you and you block it, you take minor damage. Deadshot has low recovery on a lot of his shots, and they're designed to keep you at range, which is fine. So he can either use his actual, we'll just say assault rifle. He can shoot from his what's called, or he can ricochet a shot off the ground and shoot it up. He's got all those tools to keep you away. Now, Injustice has different classifications for projectiles. You can shoot high, you can shoot mid, you can shoot low. Most of his attacks hit mid. He has a crouching machine gun fire thing that essentially hits mid, and that essentially means you can't duck it. So if you're crouching, you're still getting hit by it. And there's a tournament player named Sonic Fox. The first time I ever heard of him, he played Aaron Black in Mortal Kombat 10. It was like an invitational tournament, and he was smoking people left, right, and center. People were like, I didn't know Aaron Black was this good. And then he created a legion of Aaron Black players. He's like, I want to be good like Sonic Fox. And same thing's happening here. We have Deadshot keeping people away, not necessarily hitting them all the time, but staying far enough away. And the game doesn't have enough, in my opinion, it doesn't have enough to sort of reward you getting in and moving in and, like crushing him essentially. There's too many tools that he can use to get away from you. There's one technique that they have that's universal that every character can use to get in, and there is, just off the top, 3 techniques that he can use to get away.
Wow.
2 are universal, 1 is him. So, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So the concern is a lot of people, the first actual tournament, it's next level in New York, Sonic Fox was playing, and he won, doing that exact same shit, and people were getting pissed off. And that sort of begs the question, if it's in the game, does that make it accessible? Or does that mean it's okay to do it? So if I'm doing something constantly that I know is like really hard to counter, or maybe you can't even counter, we don't know yet. It's just been a week.
Running around with Alucard's shield?
Yeah, you can't counter that.
No. So the question is it okay to use the features that the developers put in the game?
Right, and I want to ask the question.
Potentially exploiting.
And I want to ask the question is, when does it become a point that you can say, is it exploitation or is it the way the character was meant to be? Because you want to be able to back up the developer and be like, they knew what they were doing when they made this character. But if you guys think back to Injustice, Deathstroke was also in the game. And Deathstroke had the same issue. He recovered fast from his shots. He just had swords too. So he had a few up-close attacks, but mainly it was keeping his distance as well. So is it a well-thought-out character, or is it something that NetherRealm didn't know would get out of hand?
Well, I think nowadays with fighting games, it's a lot easier to patch it. So if it does become an issue, you can just fix it.
So do you remember when, I'm going to relate this to something that we've all played, in Overwatch, when all of us were saying, like, Bastion's overpowered, Bastion's overpowered.
I didn't say it was overpowered.
No, that's what I was saying. You did not. You, like the rest of us, were saying he's too strong. He does way too much damage, way too fast. But that's because we were playing the characters that didn't work well against him. I was playing Mei, or I was playing Reinhardt, to where I would get melted really fast, and my ice walls were getting crushed, my shield was getting crushed. But it's not my job to fight him. That was Tracer's job. That was Genji's job. That was Hanzo, Widowmaker. It was their job to take care of Bastion, because that's the way they designed Bastion's character to work. They did end up nerfing him months later.
And then buffed him, and then
Well, they at the same time they nerfed and buffed. They changed his playstyle.
they nuffed him. Yeah.
Yeah, they nuffed him. That's a good word.
Or birthed him.
They they made his turret mode weaker, and they buffed his mobile mode.
Yeah, and they gave him that, the ability to, that weird heal thing.
Yeah,
I've
heal on
not
the
played
run.
him since.
So they did that thing with him. So I guess the question is Deadshot a character that people have to learn how to fight against? Is the game just too new that they haven't figured out the mechanics on how to counter him and how to deal with him? Or is this actually a mistake by the developer and they didn't foresee this happening?
So, yeah, that's essentially what
Yeah.
I'm getting at. Because, again, you have Deathstroke where it did happen, and they nerfed him. And one thing that I want to mention, I think it's exclusive to fighting, is, so when you, say I take your character, right, whichever character you're playing, and I switch him around, nerf him, buff him, whatever, right? If I buff him, there's probably going to be more people playing that character, depending on the buff. If I nerf him, that might affect your ability to be good with that character. It might be a real serious nerf. It might be something that affects the fundamentals of how you build your playstyle for that character. So you might end up switching characters. The problem with NetherRealm is they do that consistently. They will nerf and buff a lot. And it's not like Overwatch. Well, there's sort of just two ways that it's done. Overwatch is in between right now, but there's Street Fighter V's way, which has only been, to date, patched once. And it's 2 years, or it's almost 2 years old. And, right? I don't know. And then there's, what's it called? NetherRealm Studios, who did MKX, which ended up making me stop playing the game when they buffed and nerfed Takeda left, right, and center. Takeda was great when he first came out. He's the son of blind guy, Kenshi. You guys know him? He was trained by Scorpion. Let's just do that. All right, trained by Scorpion. Get over here. Yeah, come here. Anyway,
I know that guy.
really good at first, really fast, then got fucking nerfed. They put recovery on all of his moves, really hard to play. I ended up switching characters. Then they buffed him again in the Ronin, in his Ronin stance, which uses a different, it's a sort of different play style, and then a couple other changes here and there. And at that point, the game had lost its shelf life. NetherRealm Studios have, it's a joke, but that they last only a year. And then after that, that following year, when the DLC characters are already out or still coming out, people just kind of like, I really don't care anymore.
Huh.
Which I bought the game expecting that. I'm like, I'll have fun for a year maybe. Or less, because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's right around the corner. So.
I guess to answer your question, Spence and I both, neither of us play Injustice or Fighters enough to really know if it was in the intent to make the character that way. If they did intend it and it's not, it's either not working out the way it was planned, or people just haven't figured out the combinations yet, the right way of attacking, of countering him. Or if it actually is an issue, will they nerf it? How should they nerf it? I think if you have a keep away character, you give them low defense. They take more damage at melee range or at close quarters. So if someone is getting in on him, they get rewarded for it.
Right.
Maybe like upon damage, his recovery animation from taking damage is longer, to where he has to use that one ability that he personally has to actually break the stun. I don't want to call it stun, but the disorientation of being hit, like the recovery time from being hit. He uses his ability that cancels that, like kind of like Naruto Shippuden, where you can use the wood
Substitution.
clone
Yeah.
substitution, where you use that, but after so many times you run out of meter and you have to wait for that to charge before you can do it again. That's something they could look into with him. But
Well, real quick to that, I don't mean to relate it to fighting. I mean it in the sense of think of Thorn or Galahorn in your case. Or in your case, think of any
I already have the solution.
any new League character, really.
I already have the solution. And
What?
it's in League of Legends.
Okay.
Ban. Boom.
Well, see,
So-
that doesn't work in most fighters unless it's
Why not?
unless it's an absolutely cheap character. Every character is supposed to be accessible because you're looking at from League sense.
Mm-hmm.
You have like what 100 characters?
134?
Yeah, Injustice has, I don't know how much they have. I think it's, whatever. They don't even have more than 30. So
Each person gets to ban one character.
the only bans that really apply are new characters, in the sense of like right before Evo, if they drop, I don't know, Red Hood, he's banned technically.
What if each player just before the match gets to ban one character?
It wouldn't apply to fighting games,
I-
especially if you know how who that person, because you're looking at it from the sense of like, if I'm playing it,
What if you don't know?
how can you not? Say I'm going up against Justin Wong, who streams regularly as Batman, and I ban his Batman. Is that fair to him? Not necessarily. Because
I don't know.
the
Can you learn more than
the
one
character
character?
variety, you say that, but then that can affect the training of the character that you as a whole. You're not a complete package.
I think it should be the tournament's responsibility to ban.
Yeah, I mean it usually is.
Yeah. The tournament should step up and say,
Yeah, maybe they could just ban
we're
the-
banning this character. Like, you guys cannot compete with this character.
Because that's kind of how like card games work too.
Yeah.
Is they just have like an international ban list, and even though like in the game there's no rules say you can't use Monster Reborn, or Yu-Gi-Oh, because it's too damn strong. But in
Use
the
it
tournament
anyway.
rules, they say, okay, well here are the tournament rules. We're going to be competing in the tournament.
Yeah, I
Can't
think
use this
I think they laid it out for Evo. I didn't purchase the thing yet, but they normally try and lay it out for the tournament aspect, the banning thing. But it's usually not. I can see it being an overpowered thing, but it doesn't solve the issue. If it's just banning,
true.
because then you're like, oh well, I guess Deadshot's not in the game anymore. You know?
Right.
Because if you play at a competitive level, you're not getting any action fighting the guy. So what's the point in training against him?
Yeah.
So, and I'll take a loss to a Deadshot if he manages to beat me, you know, online, because who cares? But in tournament, I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to make money, you know. I mean, I'm not trying to like knock your response. It's just more of like there's like for Thorn, for instance, what did they do? They nerfed it, right? They switched how much the dot damage did.
Yeah, but in all honesty, none of the nerfs they did for that gun ever mattered. It was still too strong.
I remember playing it after
Just gotta nerf it some
the
more.
Taken King one because I still had it, and I remember playing with it, and I was like, I see where it was nerfed because it was like it does like 3 or something now. Like each dot did like 3. It used to do like 9 or something.
They also, so this is how they dealt with that. I actually remember you saying you were using Thorn. I'm like, why the fuck is he using Thorn? The gear score on all guns were allowed to proceed to like 265 or whatever. And you were still using like the 165 version of Thorn. And while in PvP it all scales, it scales by a percentage. So if you're wearing like the worst gear, you're only scaling to like 200% of your gear, like whatever that number is. They basically all the new gear. So like say if Burning Crusade armor in World of Warcraft, you had 10 health on it and 15 stamina, right? You scale that up, whatever, they multiply that out and say, okay, level 80, this is what it is. But if you actually equipped level 80 gear, it would have 2,000 stamina, crit, haste, intellect, all these other stats in addition to that would buff it.
You said I had shitty gear, essentially.
Yeah, you were using Thorn when it was you were using last season's Thorn basically, like using previous season's gear.
Well, yeah, hey, I'm just saying.
So they never
gotta make a
really,
shot.
They never really nerfed it. They just kind of removed it from being usable. Like you couldn't use it in PvE content because you're.
Oh no, I could not. I
Yeah.
was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But
As far as PvP, they still made it where you could use it, but it was last season's gear. It didn't scale at all, so they got rid of it.
yeah.
They did reintroduce it near the end, like within the last couple months, they reintroduced it. But they also now have abilities, and multiple classes have the ability to remove poisons or reduce damage from time over, like dot effects.
Right.
So they added that whole mechanic, like that whole ability in the game to reduce dot mechanics, dot damage. That's how they ended up countering Thorn in the end. Was by adding a whole new mechanic to the game, not really adjusting the gun itself.
So as far as like the different ways that you would solve it, in this case, you can outright ban it. In this case, it's more of a patchier side to it, but you're also buffing everyone's sort of resistance to it, more evening the. I don't know how they fixed Galahorn because I don't even know what Galahorn did. But
Galahorn,
blew people up.
it shot a rocket, and then once it blew up, it would break into a bunch of clusters of bombs and do another another rocket damage, basically.
So it was essentially like rocket launchers for idiots, sort of.
Yeah,
Like you
'cause
didn't
it-
even have to have a direct hit.
Yeah, because it had tracking on top of that. It had tracking. It would hit, blow up, and then a bunch of cluster bombs would pop out of it. And then once all those blew up, you basically had shot like 2.5 rockets into the guy per rocket. So you were only expending 1 ammo, but getting 250% damage.
That's ridiculous.
So the way they dealt with that was they reduced the amount of cluster bombs that pop out of Galahorn.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all they did. Which it's still one of the best rockets in the game. Like as far as options of what to use, there's one other weapon, the Sleeper Simulant, in Destiny, that is a heavy fusion rifle. It's a heavy fusion rifle. And basically it charges up and blasts. Remember that video I showed you guys where those guys lined up and how many shots can it go through?
You went through like 6 people.
Yeah, that is the Galahorn 2.0 kind of thing where they said this is the next epic weapon to use. It's a lot harder to aim, which is good. And it had the potential of killing you if you used it incorrectly. But it did a shit ton of damage to bosses, but ad-wise, it didn't do anything for ads. And actually, the way that they're adjusting for that in Destiny 2, there are no rocket launchers in the game. There are grenade launchers, but not rocket launchers. They're also removing swords,
I
minus
just saw swords though.
the super.
Well, no, he wasn't even like supered up.
Oh, really?
It was the hunter that was carrying it. It's in like the actual gameplay reveal trailer.
Huh, I'll have to double check
He's
that.
walking around with that thing. That's why I was like, I guess they're moving forward with sword.
Yeah, I heard that they weren't doing that. I didn't pay too close attention to that, but they're removing rocket launchers, I know that much. And they're also removing sidearms from the game, which were basically pistols that had higher rate of fire.
Didn't even have any time to love on one, so that's why.
Yeah, they actually were pretty cheap. They were, only thing that really beat them in close quarters were shotguns. But even then, shotguns were sometimes 2-hit kills, and to where the time to kill with some of these hand cannon or these sidearms was way lower.
So essentially, ban, nerf, and then in my case, they're essentially saying get good.
Yeah. Overwatch as well was get good.
I think it's a combination of banning and
Banning the good person, and then nerfing his ride home.
banning and statistical analysis.
I
I don't know
think-
if I believe in nerfing, but the thing about nerfing is good game design, you don't eliminate what makes the character fun. So you kind of like what Eric was saying, instead of necessarily nerfing Thorn, you introduce a new gameplay mechanic that could counter Thorn.
And I think that's what they did. It just isn't.
Yeah, I mean,
So in the case of Injustice, if you like forward dash and you hit the meter burn, you'll roll forward. You're invulnerable, and it wastes 1 bar. The only issue with that is the startup on it is ridiculously slow. So if someone times it right, they can prevent you from even rolling, which is nuts. I don't think that's proper, but I mean, then again, I don't
Yeah, so to deal with that, then they reduced the startup time of roll.
increase the recovery of the guns, but then that's nerfing or buffing at that point.
yeah, but the
But
point
the,
is just
the
don't.
roll mechanic would impact every character across everything, not just the single character.
Right, but it would also technically nerf projectile-centric characters, because then they're like, oh, my keep away game, it's so much harder now. I got kept out. I played 10 matches, no, more than that, against a Black Adam / Deadshot player that I lost every single match until I started being cheap, like he was. Well, I wouldn't say cheap. Keep away is a style, but he was literally staying away the entire time, doing his SOS move when it happened. And I was like, I don't know what happened to me. I was just like, okay, whatever. I kept losing, and then I started taking advantage of Black Canary's stupid shit, and then he was cursing on the mic, and he's like, fuck that, it's fucking bullshit. And I'm like, fucking from Brooklyn or something. I don't know. It's like, well, I what do you want me to say? You kept me out this entire time. And then now when I got in and I'm beating your ass and you want to be like, oh, fuck you, dude. So I guess you can't please everybody in that regard.
Right.
Too.
I think as far as like the roll mechanic thing that you were talking about, how it would affect all projectile characters and stuff like that. That's fine. I think that wouldn't be. It's going to affect them. It's going to allow characters the ability to move in on them, and it's their phase 2 of their plan is to get away. They have their abilities to keep you away, but then they have their abilities to get away themselves when they get in trouble. So they need to manage that, those abilities and things like that. It can't just be, well, I can't keep them away anymore, so I must have lost. But they need that SOS move that you'd said. I'm hoping I used that right, of getting out, right?
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind is they have the roll too. The roll crosses people up. So if you roll to them and they roll, then they're like, oh, well, you wasted meter and I did too, but I have projectiles and you don't. So
Right.
Black Canary gets a projectile, I think, every 10 seconds, which is a scream, which fucking sucks.
Wow.
It sucks.
It's
It's a tough life being humble.
Must be.
Yeah, there's got to be some strategy involved there that I think you should revisit and see if there's a different way you can look at it.
Oh, no, I was fine after I got in on that guy. I'm talking about for like the general public. People are like, fuck this game. Okay.
Oh, well then, yeah, if it's figured out, if you figured out how to do it and other people just need to figure it out as well, sooner or later there'll be a YouTube video about how to reduce range on him, how to always beat Deadshot or something.
Or technically, people have already released like their discussions on it or whatever, and they're like, I know it's controversial, but I main Deadshot. Let me tell you how you get in on him. It's not really telling you anything in particular. It's just like, you got to stay on him. No shit. Like, no fucking shit. But what I learned was specific to me and that guy, my specific character versus his specific 2 characters. So that's how I would like to use that strategy again. It's not going to work every time. Because the one guy, I had a Joker playing Keep Away. I'm like, you have 2 projectiles, dude. Like, fuck you. He has that gas mask thing and he shoots a gun. I can duck it or I can just jump it. But that's how you win in those games, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been going on long enough. This is podcast episode.
Wait.
What?
So
All right, thanks for watching.
Pokemon Go event happening. Catch your Aerodactyl. Going on till the 25th. Aerodactyl is pretty much all you want because it's all just rock type Pokemon. If you don't have rock type Pokemon in our rock type state, sucks to be you.
And get the rock out.
Yeah, enjoy it. There's also buddy Pokemons reduced by 4 times, so you can get a bunch of buddy candy. And Pokeballs are half off. I'm gonna go play Pokemon Go right now. Go get me an Aerodactyl.
Sweet.
And
Aerodactyl.
Spence, do you have a sign off? Do you want to say anything?
you wanna talk about your feelings and emotions?
Nope.
Okay. Well. Oh, I might try and stream Injustice maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
if you guys want to watch the fucking struggle,
Let us know in the comments what game we're gonna play for next week. Tell them.
so. Oh, let us know in the
What game do you want us to play next week?
for Why We Love.
Why We Love.
Because we'll love it if you tell us about it.